Before we can calibrate our camera, it's useful to know the tips and tricks to help get the best configuration. These are the different mechanical and software tools we can use to improve the image on the screen. To start with, the camera itself has some mechanical adjustments. It's worth noting this camera may be slightly different to your camera in that the mechanical adjustment tools are on the rear of the camera. On earlier versions they are on the front, but they do the same thing. So we have two screws. The top screw, this is for the aperture. If we dial it all the way to C, the image on the screen will be very grainy and you won't be able to see much. So it's always worth to have it open. I would recommend to start with having it turned all the way to 2.8 and nipping it up with the screw. We also then have the field of view adjustment, which is the straight up and down. The higher this is, the bigger field of view you're going to have. If you turn it right down, you will have a better focus, but the field of view will be smaller. In this tutorial, we're just going to set it to 0.3 and again lock the nut up. These are the mechanical adjustments we can make on the camera. We will now move on to the software adjustments. With Aberlink 3D booted up, we are now ready to change to the camera. We can do this easily by selecting the probe icon in the top left hand corner and then going down to camera magnetic joint. Left click on this. The software will prompt us to manually change to the camera. So we remove the probe head and store it somewhere safe. We then connect the camera. Press OK. The software will then switch the vision option on. This is the vision toolbar here along the top. You will also get the image from the camera located in the YZ view. The image should be live. You can test by running your hand underneath the camera. If you don't see an image, please make sure that the lens cap is removed. This is quite a common issue. And we are now ready to start using some of the tools before we can set the camera up and calibrate it. One of the first things to get used to is the ring light. This is located on the underside of the camera, and we can use this to brighten up an image, give us a sharper edge with the UV light. We can also use it to turn only a certain percentage of the LEDs on to get rid of shadows from different light sources depending on the setup of your CMM. To open the ring light itself, we go to the vision toolbar and it's the ring light icon here. If you hover over it, it says ring light controls, and this opens up the ring light. As I've mentioned, there is standard LEDs and UV LEDs. So to turn the standard LEDs on, we right click the large light ring icon and you'll see the LEDs switch on. There is two sliders below this. The lower one switches on the intensity. So this is the power to the LEDs. And the one above it turns on a percentage of the LEDs around the ring. So if I dial it to say 50%, I can then left click and drag this round. And this is used to counteract any shadows from various light sources depending on the setup of your machine. For example, if it's near a window or there's a light to the right hand side of the machine but not on the left, it can even out the shadows on the part. If we want to switch it off, you just right click. And then lastly we have the UV light. This is the smaller window within the ring light setup tab. This turns on the LEDs, the UV LEDs. And again we have intensity. And this is used to give us a really crisp black and white edge on certain parts where maybe with standard vision the software might want to try and measure chamfers or scratches on the part. This will ignore these and just give us a clean, crisp edge. So this is the light ring. We can now look at the autofocus tools. Before we do this, make sure the lens, backlit plate or reflective plate and the graticule that we are going to use to calibrate the machine are all clean. So again, we're using lint-free tissues. You can also use microfiber cloths. making sure the lens of the camera, the surface of the reflective plate, and also the graticule are all nice and clean. Sit the graticule on the reflective plate, and then we can look to start getting some measurements. So firstly, we will use the joystick to drive over to the graticule. Again, we just do this manually, so we're going to get somewhere near, and ideally for some of the calibration tests we're going to use the circles. So again, drive somewhere near and use the Z rotation on the joystick to get as close as you can by eye. And then this is where we use the autofocus tools, which are located here. So they're the glasses, reading glasses. If you do hold the plus or step the plus, you'll see the camera moves up, the minus moves down. So instead of using the joystick, you can also use the plus and minus buttons here. And when you are ready, you can press A. What I like to do is use the component coordinates, so right click the bottom left hand window and choose component coordinates. As you can, it's useful to see the camera moving up and down with the coordinates on the screen. So we press A, this is autofocus. The camera does a little movement up and down to try and find the best focus level. And when it's done, that will be it finished. There we go. Now I'm using the mouse to roll in and out. So this is me rolling in and out. And again, the image that we are seeing is set by the field of view, which is this column on the camera. If you need a bigger field of view, you can adjust it as we did in the previous exercise. So this is the autofocus tools. The very last thing before we move on to the camera calibration tutorial is just to show you the different setups you can have with the Vision software. At the moment it's docked, so this is this icon in the top right hand corner. If you undock, it gives the Vision software its own window. This is useful if you have two monitors or you really need a bigger screen just for the Vision software. To dock it back, you click the same icon again. Again, it docks in the YZ view, but if we click the icon next to dock, this is where we can cycle the views. We can change between the XY view and the YZ view. This is all personal preference. Once you have this all set up, you are now ready to move on to the next video tutorial, which is camera calibration.